Hey guys, it's Lee McAteer from Wrestling Travel. We're here live at Battle Arts Academy for episode 2 of the Independent Report. We're about to go and meet the one, the only, the main man behind it. You know him as Santino Marella, otherwise known as Anthony Carelli.
In 2003, I had my first match. I was 29 years old, so I knew I didn't have any time to waste. And the only connection we had at the time was a gym in Japan called Battle Arts. But it was like one word, there was no E, just Battle Arts. And I went there and I started training. And one thing I noticed right away is that the MMA fighters and the pro wrestlers, they train together. I just thought this is so cool. And the way they viewed it, professional wrestling, was that they are professional athletes above amateur athletes, so they have to out-train them. That was 2004. You know, fast forward, the clock was ticking with my neck. It wasn't going to last forever. I was trying to prolong it as best I could. Then one time I was back in Japan with WWE, and I met with Yuki Ishikawa, who was the owner and head trainer of the original Battle Arts. And I said, look, if I ever opened up, and he's like, I'm there, because his gym had closed down. So once I knew that he would be here, it gave me the confidence to go ahead and move forward and find a location, and architects and engineers, and it was a lot of lawyers. It was a lot more than I originally thought. You can't just rent a space and open a gym. I was watching, it was BJ Penn one time, and he was talking on, I think it was the Fight Network, and he was saying he went to one place for his striking, another place for his grappling, another place for his strength and conditioning, and I thought, man, but we need a facility that has everything under one roof. So the gym is basically a reflection of the things I love. I love judo, I love pro wrestling, I love amateur wrestling, I love MMA, and strength and conditioning. So we do all of that. Little did I know that each individual piece of the pie is enough to be a business in itself. Some people open up boxing gyms and that's it. And they have to market and focus on just boxing. But that is, one piece of the pie for us. Now we have to promote fitness classes for the general public, kids classes, which is my passion, and then as I retired, I started taking on teaching the judo myself. Judo was a huge part of my life growing up. I competed, I represented Canada internationally, and it's just crazy that I'm back in it. Well, there's obvious things like height, but I look for different ethnic backgrounds. It's really important, especially in today's current marketplace. Respect, common sense. There's obviously a lot of information that's going to be coming your way. You have to be intelligent, and you have to have some instincts. But also just to understand that you're an athlete and I'm a coach, and you have to listen to what I'm saying. And I didn't make this up myself. I'm regurgitating information from some of the best. I mean, Rip Rogers was probably the most significant coach in terms of the way I ended up wrestling in my career. And then once I got to WWE, Arn Anderson, Fit Finlay, Dean Malenko, Triple H, Vince, Michael Hayes, I worked with these guys for 8 years on the road with these guys, and I listened a lot and I absorbed a lot, and I know what the current marketplace is demanding. But I also had to predict where the industry was going to be. If you're playing American football, you don't throw to where the guy is. You throw to where he's going to be. And with the growth of MMA at the time, I predicted that there's going to be a need for some realism in the pro wrestling. And there's still other forms, right? There's hardcore, and there's lucha, and there's intergender, and all that kind of stuff. But I believe the most the top guys, the champions, so to speak, are going to be guys that really make you suspend your disbelief. And now that the audience is much more grappling or fight savvy, we have to change a few things. We can't hold someone with a top wrist lock anymore. It's just not believable. So we have this hybrid style here, where it starts off like a contest. It's actually not something new. It's really how it was, and we're trying to restore it to where it was one time. And we start off as a contest, it escalates into a fight, and then it can go extreme. But as long as we follow those steps, it really, really helps with the suspension of disbelief. Well, I tell people a a lot. It takes about 10 sessions per week. Now, for example, let's say lifting weights is 4 of those sessions, wrestling class is another 4 of those sessions, and then I encourage you to do something real, a boxing or a judo or a jiu-jitsu, which we offer as well. And but that's the minimum, you know. So I really want people to cross-train and understand that you have to become an MMA fighter, a bodybuilder, a public speaker, an actor, a professional wrestler. You become a brand, you become the product, and you have to look at it as a business. If you're spending money on a new pair of boots, that's a research and development. You know, it'd be in that category. You're developing or investing into your character, your brand, packaging. You have to look at it as a business from every sense. It's interesting because there are so many different chapters, you know, like debuting and the Intercontinental title run and being a heel, and that was like a whole chapter, you know, with Beth Phoenix and stuff. That was very fun. And then there was, you know, the Vladimir Kozlov days, which was also very fun. And then later in the career, you know, I had the Elimination Chamber and the U.S. Championship, and it seemed like another chapter. I guess, you know, your first WrestleMania is always pretty awesome, but the best matches are ones that are not on TV. They're at live events, and you don't have the constraints of commercials, and you can just go out there and really be an artist and paint pictures and tell stories, and, you know, have the audience in the palm of your hand. Well, it's taped up for judo, but and those are, I would really, near the end of my career, because when I debuted, people don't know how green I was when I debuted. I consider myself very green. I had something in me that made it very realistic. I was living in the moment. So when I stood out at OVW because of this battle arts background, and it was very believable. So I got hired, and then I was able to fake it until I make it in terms of being Italian. And then I literally had to learn on the job. So near the end of my career, you know, 7-8 years in is when I feel like I really mastered it. And I wouldn't waste a step in the ring. Everything was for a purpose and for a reason that would pay off later on. And once I got there, it was just so much fun each and every day. And I remember walking into the building one time for a live event, and I think it was Jack Swagger. The cards on the wall on a piece of paper. So you walk in, you go, okay, I'm sixth match, I got this guy, and you go back, and then you continue to the locker room. And he looks, he goes, oh, I got Santino, that's a day off. And I'm like, huh. My peers consider working with me a day off, and that's a huge compliment. So I really dialed it in near the end. It's a shame the neck didn't give me a few more years, but no complaints, it was awesome. When I would tag with Primo and Epico against them, that was always just magic. The Usos, God, man, the Usos are amazing. They're amazing. They're in the right place at the right time all the time. They're awesome. But Jack Swagger was one guy who we have this match we call the match seen around the world, because we just did it so much, and we did it so much, but every single day we looked forward to it. It was so much fun. And the audience was just so into it. And the other wrestlers would tell me that, you know, there's a monitor in the back. And then when we would have this particular match, that it was called a monitor sellout, meaning all the boys and girls in the back would watch and just laugh along with the audience and stuff. So that's, again, another big compliment. As long as his hands get up to speed. Now, amateur wrestlers can... I don't want to say boxing. Yeah, boxing's a bit easier to learn than amateur wrestling. But the subtleties of boxing it's like, for example, I drive a car, but I'm not a Formula One driver, but it's the same kind of thing. Steer, brakes, gas. So boxing, you can kind of get the basics down pretty good. And he's a high-level athlete, so he's going to really learn fast. But the subtleties and the speed and the moving and just, you know, missing shots, and if he can get that down, he'll be fine. But that's you know, goes for everybody, really. Especially comes from a grappling background. Oh man, I would say Flair, Hogan, Buddy Rogers, Bruno Sammartino. Yeah, I mean, I use my own social media to talk about it. So I'm at Milan Miracle on Twitter and The Milan Miracle on Instagram. But I mean, you know, it's battleartsacademy.ca, and social media is probably the best way. I try and put some new fresh posts out there to let people know, because we have a lot going on. Sometimes I don't want to bombard people, but we do have that much going on. So I keep pretty active. Yeah, that'd be the best way.